Okay, everybody, welcome to the Mystery Game Jam 2025 theme selection event. I'm very happy to be presenting this to you. I'm your host, Kinjo Goldbar, as you might know, and I'm just super excited to be able to share the theme with you. And this is a little presentation I created so that you can more easily decide which theme you want to vote for because we have quite a few interesting ones, and we're going to go over these today. So, yeah, let's just get into it. I do have something to say before we begin, which is simply that I have to thank you all for a very awesome turnout so far. We still have 2 days to go. We're about 50 hours, uh, actually, before the jam officially begins. We still have 50 hours until it starts, and we already have over 400 people who have joined, which is pretty amazing. Last year we only had 160 people, which even then I thought that was a big number. I wasn't expecting to see that many people. Um, so the fact that we more than doubled last year's participation is huge. I haven't really done much different in terms of advertising this, so it just shows that people really want this kind of thing, and I'm very happy to be doing it. And I think it's an honor to be able to be the person that can host this event for you. So, um, yeah, I just have to say thank you, Walt, because it would not be possible without your support and your interest in this event. Okay, so last year we did not have a theme. So, for people who might want to know, why should we even have a theme? Well, it helps narrow down ideas, right? If you're trying to brainstorm ideas for a game, for a mystery game, we had that happen last year where it was so open ended that people were not really sure what game they could be making. So a theme actually kind of helps narrow that down a bit. So, you know, we can have a competition that or an event that makes it a little bit easier for people to decide what they want to work on and spend less time thinking about what to make and just making it. This also makes this year's event more memorable if we have a unique theme each time around. So maybe this year we'll do one theme, next year we'll do a different theme. So it's just kind of cool that each year could have a different theme associated with it. It adds another layer to the competition. Obviously, as part of your voting criteria, you're going to need to follow the theme in some capacity. The more closely you follow the theme, the higher vote you'll get. Um, Hopefully, anyway. And also, I didn't put this on here, but it is kind of an easy way to weed out the low effort people, who just sort of spam game jams and don't really think about what they're doing. Just we had that last year where people would just throw games out here. They weren't even mystery games, right? There's always those kinds of people who just um, try and grab attention from a game jam. It has nothing to do with the jam at all. Um, so adding a theme that people need to pay close attention to and be creative about is another way to to sort of add a layer to that competition. Of course, the theme also exercises our creative muscles, right? It's more interesting than just not having anything to work with. Um, and then it also unites us with a common goal. I mean, this is obviously a competition. There's some people who are in this to win, but it's also cool that we're all sort of working toward a same idea. Interpreting the same theme in different ways is just a cool thing. So those are a lot of good reasons, I think. Now, how the theme list was determined, most of these actually, I think, so we have a total of 10 ideas, and I think 6 or 7 of these are just straight from you guys from our 2024 community feedback survey when I asked the question. And there were a lot of good answers on that. I didn't include all of them from that survey, but there were a lot of good answers. So a lot of these are actually suggestions from other people. And I ended up rewording a few of them or changing the phrasing around to make them sound more like a theme. Uh, but you'll see. I think they're all really good. I also included 1 or 2 themes from other popular game jams that I just looked at, like what have other game jams done as good themes. So I included a couple of those and also a couple of my own ideas thrown in there that I thought would be really good for a mystery game jam as a theme. So I honestly couldn't decide, and I thought, well, I can't. This is such a big thing for me to decide on my own. I'm going to actually just have you guys vote and you decide because that way everyone at least partially is satisfied with um, what the result is. So you know, so let's go ahead and talk about how the theme will be chosen, the voting process. We're going to go over a list of 10 possible themes right now in this presentation. After this presentation is over, I will open the voting with a poll. I'll make an announcement. Everyone will get pinged. There'll be a nice little poll that you can vote on, that I worked very hard to build last night. So we'll see if it goes properly. Hopefully it does. But yeah, you're going to vote in the poll after this presentation's over. Although you have 24 hours to vote, so you don't have to vote right away. You can take your time thinking about which idea you'd like to work on, or actually, even if you're not participating in the jam, if you just want to vote and sort of influence what games will be made, you can do that too. So voting is open for anyone, regardless of whether they're participating or not. Um, so they just have to be in the Discord. They just have to be in the Discord server. So yeah. um, Now, one important thing about this that I sort of decided last night is that we're going to be able to allow you to vote for 3 themes, not just one. And I didn't think about that, but I think it makes a lot of sense because uh, there's 10 possible themes to choose from. And if you only vote for one, uh, it doesn't necessarily reflect the overall sentiment. If, you know, there might be some themes that you thought were like pretty good, but not like the number one. And so I kind of want to see what people overall were gravitating toward and make sure that the overall sentiment is that we picked a theme that most people at least somewhat enjoy. So you're going to have 3 possible options. You don't have to vote for 3. You can vote for just one if you want to, but you can vote for up to 3 themes. And the theme with the most votes, so we're just going to look at the exact number of votes after the 24 hours are up, that is going to be the final theme that we go for the whole competition. If we have an exact tie, so if 2 or more themes end up with the exact same number of votes, we'll just hold a 1-hour lightning round, having another poll with just those options to narrow it down to an exact winner. Then, after the final theme is determined, you will have 24 hours to plan your game idea based on that new theme before the jam begins. So even though the theme will be revealed, you cannot work on your game and like as an actual entry. You can plan, you can think about it, make ideas. You can sketch and design like an outline for the story or whatever. You cannot work on the actual game itself until the jam actually starts, even though the theme will be revealed. So that's important to note. But basically, as soon as we go over these options, you're going to be able to brainstorm right away. So it'll be very interesting to see what people come up with. Now, how the theme will be judged. Themes are one aspect of the judging criteria. There's a lot of other judging criteria. We don't have time to get into that right now. There's a lot of judging criteria, but themes are one of them. You will be required to explain how your mystery game follows the theme when you submit your entry. And all I'm asking for here is like a 1 or 2 sentence description, just to make sure that you're not spamming the game jam with something that doesn't follow the guidelines, just a short explanation. And I understand that maybe some themes might be a spoiler because of the mystery aspect of things. So try to phrase it in a way that doesn't spoil your entry, because I want these to be public so people can more easily judge the theme aspect when it comes to voting. So you just have to give a short little sentence on, how your game incorporates the theme. Not hard if you actually tried, right? You can interpret the theme in whatever way you want. By the way, your game still has to be a mystery game, so I want to make that clear as well. You can interpret the theme whichever way you want, but the game overall still has to be a mystery game. So it doesn't just follow the theme, it is a mystery game that follows the theme. You can follow the theme directly or be really creative with it. It's up to you. All I ask is that you have a good explanation in mind, because your peers will judge you. It's just like the U.S. court system, right? You'll be judged by a jury of your peers. So you're going to, what I really mean by that is when we get into voting period after the jam ends, the people who submitted entries are the ones who are going to be voting on your games. So you want to make sure that you're explaining what your theme is, how you incorporate that into your game so that they understand it. So that's all. Okay. And one last thing to be clear before we get into this. Only one of the following themes will be the real theme, which is based on the community vote that we're about to have very soon. So right now we are going over a list of potential themes that you will vote on. Do not submit a game with the wrong theme. I don't want to confuse anybody or mislead anybody. Do not submit a game with the wrong theme. Following more than one of these themes is okay, though, as long as it includes the real one. Okay, so just pay close attention once the theme is decided what the actual theme is. Don't just watch this presentation and think you can make a game involving any of these themes, because that's not true. You're going to have to only focus on the one that is chosen, and the point of this presentation is to help clarify your decision on which theme you want to work on. So, okay, now this is the exciting part. Let's go ahead and dive into the themes. Number 1, lock and key. So this is a pretty straightforward one that you might expect for a mystery game jam. And some example interpretations of the theme might include making a locked room mystery. You could have an escape room that uses locks and keys. That's pretty common in escape games. You could have some kind of mechanism that acts like a lock and a key. Or maybe you have a lock and a key that are important, but in some other creative, unique way that I don't know, that we've not really thought of before, right? So these are example interpretations, and this is not an exhaustive list of what you can or cannot do with a theme. These are just some examples to get your mind thinking about what you might be able to do and whether you think it would be fun to work on or play these kinds of games if we go for these themes. So if you want to, you know, if you think that those examples are kind of cool or fun, then you might want to vote for this particular theme when the poll opens, right? And the polls will open after the presentation is over. Okay. Number 2, Golden Age. So Golden Age can mean quite a few different things. In the context of a mystery, a Golden Age means a very specific thing. So this would obviously refer to a Golden Age mystery novel, which are some of my favorite stories from the early 20th century. You could also interpret Golden Age in a different way. You could maybe talk about uncovering the secrets of a civilization's golden age, searching through the ruins of an ancient civilization. That might be kind of a cool mystery to unravel. It could be exposing the corruption of a golden age. Maybe it's not so golden after all. Or there might be other kinds of golden ages, some throughout history in other contexts, or a personal golden age in someone's life, right? So there's different ways to interpret this phrasing, golden age. I'm leaving it up to creativity, whichever way you want to interpret these themes. So this is Golden Age. All right. Number 3, last message. Example interpretations of the theme, right? What could a last message be? Well, it could be a dying message that a victim of a murder leaves behind, right? That's like the first thing that my mind jumps to. You could also be searching through chat logs based on a final message. So, there are certain mystery games where it's about sifting through computer archives. That might be a thing you could incorporate with this last message theme with. Deciphering an encrypted final message, some sort of cryptography game or whatever, puzzle solving to sort of interpret a message that was left behind, or maybe several messages left behind, but the last message is particularly important. There could also be other forms of communication, so it doesn't have to be a chat log, right, or email. It could be phones, handwritten letters, any kind of last message that is significant in some substantial way, right? 4, out of control. So this is a theme that I believe other game jams have used in the past, although it also kind of happened to overlap with some suggestions. So I think this is very cool. Now, some example interpretations of this theme could be involving some sort of AI, like a sentient AI or a monster that goes out of control, right? You've got some sort of mysterious creature that you think you have it under control, but then it's not. It could be that a mysteries investigation gets out of control somehow. You think things are going on the right track, and then they don't, right? Any kind of social dynamic or relationship that spirals out of control. That's really just about any mystery when you think about it. So many mysteries happen because of that. And you can also have a game where the gameplay is centered on the player losing control. So maybe they start off with a lot of agency in the game, or something to that effect, and then it just gets out of their control at some point. So um, there's a lot of potential with this theme too. Number five, an unconventional weapon. This is also a classic game jam theme from another game jam, and I think it fits quite well with murder mysteries or just mysteries in general. So here, the murder weapon could be something unique and unexpected. It's not something you would normally consider a weapon, which leaves for a lot of creative interpretation, right? Um, the player might wield an unconventional weapon themselves. Maybe it's not a murder weapon. Maybe it's a weapon that the player uses to to do whatever you're doing in the game, right? Be creative with this. You could even make some sort of emphasis on having an abstract or metaphorical weapon. Maybe it's not actually like a physical weapon, but some other kind of weapon that you use uh, to uncover the truth behind a mystery. You could even have a weapon that subverts mystery conventions or tropes, because again, this is an unconventional weapon. So, is this weapon going to do something unconventional, right? Think about think about all these sorts of ways to interpret the theme. Number six, the object of obsession. So, a more familiar name for this for some people might just be the MacGuffin. It is the thing that essentially the plot of a story revolves around, um, whether the characters are in search of the MacGuffin or whether they are chasing after it or trying to steal it from each other or just hold on to it. Maybe it's just some sort of object that has an important power of some sort. Um, but I thought that was a little too restrictive, so we're just going to call it the object of obsession. So it's something that a character might be obsessively in search of, like a mysterious treasure. It could be an important clue, that is, a character's particular object that they're obsessed with, that they need to have, again, like a MacGuffin. Some sort of psychological obsession as a character's motive that makes them maybe commit a crime. Uh, or maybe the player must obsessively interact with a particular object as part of the game mechanics, right? So think about that one. That might be an interesting one to do. Seven, the magic of numbers. Okay, lucky number seven, right? Um, this one was brought to my attention by one of the people who filled out our survey, and they pointed out that the year happens to be 2025, which happens to be a perfect square of 45, and 45 happens to be the summation of all the numbers 1 through 9. And if anyone is familiar with the term digital root, both 2025 and 45 have a digital root of 9. If that means nothing to you, don't worry about that. But if you think that's kind of cool, then maybe we want to do a number-based theme for today for this year's jam. So numbers would play a key role in solving the mystery in your story in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you have to deduce patterns or codes using numbers and math, some sort of mathematical property. Square roots, prime numbers, something exciting like that. Um, this actually works really well when it comes to cryptography, espionage, or financial crimes. Maybe they're just moving numbers around on a spreadsheet, right? Mysterious numbers can also be used in a supernatural way when you think about the word magic, right? So there's a lot of room for interpretation on this one for people who really love numbers. 8, as cold as ice. So ice is also a classic mystery trope. Um, your game can take place in the winter or in a snowy or cold setting. Maybe something as cold as ice is a key clue to the mystery, right? Dry ice is a favorite of mine, although I don't think that's cold, but actually cold ice. It would have to be cold. um, but yeah, that's a classic one, right? Melting ice. The main character's personality could be as cold as ice. That's a different way to interpret things. You could even have a cold case, right? The case is as cold as ice, brought back from the dead to finally be solved, right? So there's lots of ways to interpret a cold case, or as cold as ice. 9, beyond the grave. All right, we're almost at the end here. This is going so fast, but I'm excited. Uh, Example interpretations of this theme could be a person who is supposed to be dead, but they're actually seen alive. You're like, that's kind of strange. Are they a zombie? What's going on? The mystery could take place in the afterlife, like heaven, hell, whatever. Rumors of a ghost haunting. Is it real or fake, right? There's plenty of room for a ghost hunting kind of game in that aspect. Maybe Beyond the Grave just refers to solving a mystery that involves communicating with the dead, right? I've seen the seance games before, um, so there's a lot of room for interpretation on that one as well. 10, running out of time. This is the last but not least. And funny name because, yeah, you're on a time limit for this game jam, right? So who knows? But, but yeah, running out of time. I think this is actually a pretty cool one. The mystery must be solved within a time limit. Um, right, that's pretty straightforward. Not much to say there. But also, the culprit might strike again as more time passes. That's kind of cool. That's pretty common. Um, Maybe as you take more time solving the mystery, maybe the mystery becomes more difficult to solve, right? There's some sort of a gameplay mechanic where the time actually influences your ability to solve the mystery. Um, Maybe it's just real time mystery solving, so which you don't really see that often. You see a lot of turn based mysteries, perhaps, or mostly just less. How do you say it? Less mysteries that involve any sort of real time gameplay. We'll just put it that way. So that would be kind of a unique thing to do and to experiment with. So yeah, those are. I blasted through this, but I was so excited. Um, these are the 10 themes um, that we're going to work with for the voting process. Again, these are not you're not going to choose from any of these. We're going to vote on just one of these, and the one that is chosen will be the one for the game jam. And again, I like all of these themes a lot, so I think whichever one we end up going with is going to be a good one, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So I would be happy with any of these being chosen. So shortly after this presentation ends, I'm going to start the poll, and then you'll be able to start voting. So that'll be very cool. I'm very excited for this. We'll just go through this one last time. Lock and Key, Golden Age, Last Message, Out of Control, An Unconventional Weapon, The Object of Obsession, The Magic of Numbers, As Cold as Ice, Beyond the Grave, and Running Out of Time. And yes, this video will be uploaded somewhere for you to view after the fact, after we're done here. And I'm also going to upload the slides so you can just look at it because the video might take some time to process. So, but yeah, that is it for this presentation. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay in the chat, don't leave just yet. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the themes and look forward to the voting in just a few minutes here.